Nick.
Mario.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm just going to tell everyone a little bit about you, just so that we understand your incredible expertise in the area. Nick is the founder and CEO of Ginga Technology Solutions, which is a leading managed IT and cybersecurity company servicing businesses across Eastern Ontario and Gatineau. With more than 20 years of experience in information technology, Nick specializes in cybersecurity, cloud computing, networking, virtualization, which we're going to talk about a little bit because I have no idea what that is, and helping organizations protect themselves against today's rapidly evolving digital threats. You studied in IT and specialized in networking in, Carleton University, Algonquin College, and you are passionate about making technology approachable. You also work with businesses of all sizes to improve security, increase efficiency, and stay ahead of cyber criminals. How can you stay ahead of a cyber criminal?
That's a great question. It is definitely a cat and mouse game, and staying ahead is quite the challenge. The best thing to do is staying up to date and being informed, being aware of how you can best protect yourself and those around you in our community. Whatever we can do individually to help protect ourselves and our clients and our family helps the community.
It's not easy. So I get a lot of people calling me, whether they're senior citizens or not. We recently had a threat scare here at TVC 22 where some emails were sent out. And it's getting more and more difficult to see what's real and what's not. Because again, when we talk about staying ahead of it, how can you stay ahead of it when they themselves meaning the criminals, are making it almost impossible to recognize that threat?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was a little easier to distinguish when we were getting those emails from, the Prince of Nigeria. It was kind of a copy and paste type of story, so it spread quite quickly, and people were. It was more easy to be aware of that situation. Threats are obviously evolving, and with the AI boom, it's really making things very, very challenging. Threat actors are not only they've moved from using AI to kind of help with the messaging or deployment of attacks. Now it's really, they're leveraging AI to action threats or attacks and hacks. So they're able to manipulate or kind of breach very, very quickly and efficiently now by using hacking tools or by allowing and tying in their AIs into their hacking tools. So it's making it very, very challenging.
Well, that's why you're in business. So I guess business is going to be very strong for you in the years ahead. AI. So you mentioned AI a couple times. At the city of Clarence Rockland yesterday at our meeting, we're actually trying to pass a bylaw that actually limits AI within city components. So making sure that we always have a human response, which is a really good thing, by the way, because I just had to go through, as you know, some kind of little thread of my own regarding credit cards. And I won't name the bank, but let's just say that the only thing I could talk to was an AI. And when they ask you to enter your credit card number or I don't have it, and they refuse to move past it. I couldn't even talk to a human to be able to go through this. So I can imagine how problematic it is. If we talk about what we tried to pass yesterday was to limit this AI thing. But AI has a lot of different components. AI can help. It's a tool that people can use. But then there's also AI that the criminals are using to be able to get into your data. What is the safest thing that someone can do? Because it seems like being online in general is a threat no matter what. So what would you be able to say to people who are saying, you know what, every time I'm online, I don't feel safe. So how can I trust what AI is giving me and what is fake and real?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, is staying educated and being aware of the, we call it the threat landscape. So where threats can lie, and just being able to identify those threats is a pretty big plus. I mean, it's not necessarily about combating The everyday person is not expected to combat threats, but being aware on how to protect yourself, right? You're right by saying that being online is just, in general, exposure. You've got data brokers and ad agencies collecting your personally identifiable information. If they get breached, then threat actors can use that and leverage that. Some data brokers will sell your data to anybody that approaches them for a price. So, they're not necessarily going just to ad agencies, but you may have threat actors that are buying that data. So your email, your address, your phone number, and then you're getting spam emails, you're getting spam calls, you're getting spam texts, phishing emails, things like that. So being able to understand what your digital footprint is. What's a digital footprint? What happens with that, and how can I minimize that? That's a pretty big step. And part of that is just knowing, or limiting what you share. Just like you mentioned that the city's looking at how they can limit the AI. Now, I got to admit, I don't completely agree with that approach.
Well, not too many people did yesterday. That's why it was deferred. So it wasn't
good.
Accepted.
I think that there's more research and consulting that should be done, in my opinion, and I might participate in the next council meeting. But being able to, AI is a tool, right? And tools can be used for good or evil. Putting policies in place, education, those are things that allow people to use these tools in a healthy manner. Implementing education programs or incorporating curriculum in schools is probably a fantastic idea, so that our younger generations can be aware on how to use these tools appropriately. I know it's been a pretty big conversation in school boards. You got some teachers that are all for AI, and then you've got other teachers that are trying to ban it. Say, well, if you're banning it and you're pushing it away, it's here. We're in the AI boom. It's happening. Learn how to appropriately use it. Teach people how to use it safely, and then we're all better off, right? You can't just sweep it under the rug. It's here. It's now. Being able to use it safely and in a healthy way is important, right?
So how can I word this? There are a lot of people who are talking about AI threatening jobs. If you follow certain people, and I'm on TikTok a lot, and there's a lot of IT specialists, and I say this because no one knows really what they are on TikTok. Anybody can say whatever they are on TikTok. And some of them are doom and gloom. They're like, within 3 years, we'll all lose our jobs, and or not all, but there are some areas that'll definitely see that. Do you think that's grandstanding? Are we really at the point of thinking that we're at the end, or is this just people just talking out of their what?
My personal opinion is that I think it will have an impact on the job market for sure, but I don't think it's going to necessarily for whatever jobs it takes away, I think new jobs will be created. So I think in the long run, it will balance out. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, let's take transport truck fleets, right? You've got drivers that are driving long distances. There's risks. There's fatigue. There's it's costly. Labor is costly. If you can incorporate AI into these self-driving transport trucks, you're able to potentially have more trucks in your fleet. And if you have more trucks in your fleet, then you're going to need more mechanics to maintain those trucks. So maybe you have fewer drivers, but that's creating jobs elsewhere. You're going to need more programmers, developers, maintenance people, mechanics, security people. So from where it takes, I think it gives back elsewhere. So yes, it will have an impact on the job market, but not necessarily negatively.
This actually, because it reminds me, my dad, when I was younger, worked in a factory, and I remember him thinking, when computerization of machinery was coming out, and it was really coming out, just kind of the way AI is coming out now. It came out fast, it came out rapid, and he was convinced. He's like, I'll lose my job within a year. And he retired fine. And actually the machine, was a smart enough computer to prevent him from sticking his arm into a roller to be able to fix something, the machine would be able to fix it on its own, just like a computer would, right? I find that sometimes people panic about this just because, again, it's something new.
Change is hard. Change is hard for people.
It is.
Yeah. We see that all the time with our clients. I mean, whether we're implementing maybe a new platform or helping them migrate to a new platform or whatever it might be, not everybody likes change, and it can be scary and it can be difficult to adopt. But I think there can be a lot of positives. It has to be properly planned out and executed. But yeah, change is difficult for people for sure.
So when you have viruses coming into, we're all familiar with the phishing and the scams and those types of things. There's a lot of scamming that happens that is not IT, right? So I know I have meetings regularly with the OBP, and they're always combating these kinds of things, misinformation, and unfortunately, senior citizens are the prime target of these things. I was surprised to hear at some point that QR codes were no longer safe. How bad is this, and are we worrying too much, or are we still good enough to scan QR codes when we see them? Again, it comes back to awareness, being able to identify if that QR code looks legitimate. And I'm not saying, obviously we don't have computer eyes, so we're not going to, we're not scanning the QR code ourselves or trying to decipher what it looks like. But what I mean by that is, depending on where the QR code is and, if it's permanently affixed, has it been tampered with? I believe there was an article in Ottawa regarding parking payment stations where people were affixing fake QR code stickers on top of the existing QR codes. So yeah, that's a danger, right? But sometimes just a quick little visual inspection can help. Like, is there a ridge? Does it look like something's been stuck on top of something else? That's kind of a permanent type of installation, right? If you're going to maybe a conference hall or a wedding venue or something, and you've got these little foldable cards, or maybe you're in a restaurant or you're going to a concert, and the programming or the menu is through a QR code, those tend to be a little safer because, those are actively kind of distributed, or they're one-time distribution. So it's a little bit easier to gauge that or judge that as being safe, right? Yeah. It's really more those permanent ones where somebody could tamper with it. That's a little bit more tricky. So the ones that are mostly in public, you should really be more careful. Vigilant. Yeah, for sure. And anything that you see on social media as well, be careful with scanning those. Evidently, that's a little bit more challenging. If you're on your phone, a little harder to scan something from your phone on your phone. Yeah. But don't go out of your way to do that just in case. But being aware, for sure, just comes down to kind of being vigilant and aware. So my next question is kind of like... I guess I want to make sure people don't take this the wrong way, but all of these technologies that are coming out that are threats, and which technology that's coming out right now excites you the most about potential of growth in the IT world? And that could be a new technology that is yet to be threatening, or one that actually is still a threat. Yeah, sure. We can talk about that. I don't think we'll talk very long because it's pretty complicated. But for me, it'd be quantum computing. So you already lost me. Yeah, so. Exactly. Quantum computing. When we're getting there, when we get there, that will be civilization level of a change. It's computing at a next level that we've never ever seen. It's really reinventing computing completely from the ground up. How so? Give me an example. So traditional computing functions in binary, right? Ones and zeros, essentially on and off. It's mathematical equations, yes, but it's really about the ones and zeros, either a state of on or off, and those transmissions are signaled and interpreted. So they're finite
possibilities, especially given hardware limitations. But quantum computing is not binary, it's qubits. And you can actually have 3 states. So you can have on, off, and both on and off at the same time. Essentially, computationally, it's able to solve massive mathematical equations almost instantaneously. So, solving math problems. I mean, recently in the international news, it was announced that quantum computing was able to solve a kind of a math mystery very, very quickly, which would have taken traditional supercomputers. I don't remember what the actual number is, but either hundreds or thousands of years to solve. Quantum computing did it in a fraction of the time. Where the concern is with this is when we think about security, really security is all about encryption, right? Algorithms and ciphers and such. Now, quantum computing can almost instantly just decipher any existing encryption algorithm, like instantly. So when we look, at our highest levels of government that encrypt communications, whether it's radio or telecommunications, emails, things like that, if a quantum computer can just instantly decipher any level of encryption, where is the security? Where is the privacy? What are we going to do? So actually our federal government does have projects and grants and incentives right now for companies that can develop quantum-proof encryption algorithms.
Wow.
That is a very, very high priority at federal levels internationally, because we have to solve this before quantum. Right now, quantum computing is really only at government levels and research levels, universities, things like that. Some organizations do allow you to sort of access some computational resources, but it's very, very restricted and limited, and it's really research focused. So there isn't any consumer markets for that right now. But where you can look at that is on the positive side is imagine all these medical mysteries that we have or that we don't have answers, medical conditions that we don't have answers for, the ability to throw that to a quantum computer and helping us solve,
But like you were saying earlier, for every good thing, there's a bad thing.
Well,
yin
exactly.
And yang,
it's
right?
a tool.
So,
we need to be able to use it appropriately, safely, in a healthy way.
how many years do you think we're out for that? It's happening at lightning speed.
No, not well. Yes and no. I mean, just the way technology works is it's exponential growth. But I mean, I hope to see it in my lifetime, and I think we will. But it's not going to be a next year thing. There's a lot. Essentially, these quantum computers, the systems, they're massive. And they require sub-zero temperatures to function. It's not just sticking a computer in a freezer here. This is scientifically, the engineering behind it is insane. So it's not even easy to reproduce. So
how much draw? Because we talk about AI and we talk about how much, I guess, electricity or energy it takes to just keep these massive computers going and cooled. And I mean, they were talking about one in Las Vegas or in Nevada, I think, at some point where this thing was like the size of 5 city blocks, and it was just a gigantic manufacturing of, not manufacturing, but like a
data
housing,
center.
a data center. I guess this thing would need, if it needs sub-zero temperatures, I mean, like this.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of technical.
I mean, they could build it up north. I mean, it's always cold.
There's a lot of technical challenges that are being identified. I am not at all a quantum specialist by any means. I mean, I know very little. I just know the basics right now. And you're right. I think cooling is going to be an issue. The thing is, it's not as if like right now in our data centers, we can use liquid cooling. We're using water for the most part, right? To cool servers and things. So the resource costs for traditional data centers right now is yes, hydro and water for cooling. We can't use water to cool quantum computers. So that's going to be a whole, I can't really speak to that effect, especially not from an energy consumption perspective. But again, we're not anywhere near close to seeing that, in mass markets or being deployed everywhere. It's really more at the scientific research level right now. And then there are big organizations making some pretty big advancements like IBM and Microsoft. So, yeah.
Who do you think wins that race? Which company right now is best to win that race? Or is it going to be a brand new company we haven't even heard of yet?
Oh, I don't know about a brand new company. I mean, it's possible. Again, I'm not an expert, but I would say, the resources it requires to even build a supercomputer, you need a lot of funding and just a lot of resources in general. So I think it would be probably one of the tech giants. And I think it's going to be first to market. Now, the way that we're measuring the success rate of quantum computing is the margin of error, because it's not perfect. So the lesser the margin of error, the more accurate the computational responses are, then that's how we're gauging how close we are to, actual quantum computing. But it's very far from perfect. But also from a hardware perspective and size of kind of the hardware and the components, Microsoft made some pretty big breakthroughs last year in regards to that in a new kind of generation of chips. So I'm following it to some extent. Again, I don't think we're going to see this in our markets anytime soon, but it is interesting, and there's definitely a lot of concerns. But there's also, I'm seeing a lot of benefits as well in the future, especially in medical and science. That's where they're focusing.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Shifting a little away from this, though, these are questions obviously that I sometimes get. Are public Wi-Fi still safe?
If you protect yourself, yes.
So how can someone protect themselves if they have on their phone? It's usually a phone that they're using.
Yeah, phone and laptops. I mean, you go to Starbucks, there's public Wi-Fi. You go to malls these days, they have public Wi-Fi. Some cities even have public Wi-Fi in kind of center town areas. The protection aspect comes from a couple different areas, but a lot of modern phones now have sort of private Wi-Fi addresses or hardware identifiers that can kind of randomize it. That's usually a setting that's by default in your mobile device. That can help a little bit. But really the best form of protection on public Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi is a VPN. There are a lot of different VPNs out there. I'm sure many of you have seen ads on YouTube or social media, like NordVPN or private internet access. There's a lot out there. Right. So having a VPN service on your mobile device helps and oh my goodness, that's going to be a fun word, but it helps you be anonymous. And essentially what it does is it's just creating a kind of like a secret tunnel between your device and an endpoint, like a server on the internet. Traditionally, what can happen is if you don't have a VPN service on your device, anybody on that Wi-Fi, on that public Wi-Fi, could potentially intercept the data transmission. So, for example, and this is a pretty rare case, but you're sitting at a cafe, you're on the free Wi-Fi, and maybe there's somebody next to you or in the same cafe on the Wi-Fi that has a laptop there, and they're set up to intercept your data. They potentially could see every key that you're typing in the sense of the submission. So you want to log into Facebook. So you're putting in your username and your password. You hit enter or log in. That's being sent over the internet. So if somebody's able to intercept that, then they potentially know what your username and your password is. So now you bring that to the extent of your bank account or credit card numbers. You want to be able to protect yourself. So that VPN tunnels that communication so that other people can't intercept that.
Okay, that makes sense. What if, so there are a lot of small businesses around. Small businesses don't necessarily have sometimes the capital to invest in all of the security aspects. If you were to consult a small business, what could they do? What should be the first couple of things that they do to just start that security, down that security path that is still affordable?
That's a great question. And often speak of this. Stay away from free emails. Do not use a Hotmail, Gmail, Live, Outlook email for your business email. There's multiple issues with that. First of all, compliance, provincial and federal law, like regulations are in place because you are required to, as a business, to secure your client data. Which includes communication with your clients. If you're using a free email, there is no great security built into that. It is a free email. In fact, many of the times, if you're using your free email for business purposes, you're probably breaching licensing terms and conditions with that email provider. So you want to be careful on that. I've never really heard of any lawsuits come from that, but it comes down to the security of it. Right. You spend the $10 per month or $10 or $15 per month on a business email. Your IT person or MSP can help bolster security on your business email, make sure or help prevent breaches and minimize spam and scam emails that are coming in, phishing emails. There's a lot of protection measures that can be put into place. Wow. And the other aspect to using a free email is that a lot of the times you can't just migrate. Let's say this happens to us all the time. We've got a small client that comes to us. They're like, okay, we've outgrown these free emails. I'm like, perfect. Let's set you up in Microsoft or Google Workspace. And then like, okay, can you move all our emails? No. Right. You decided to use a consumer level email provider that's free, is not compatible with business solutions. And a lot of the times we get people saying, well, it's Microsoft. I was using Microsoft Outlook and now you're moving me to Microsoft Business. Interestingly enough, those are actually two different businesses. You've got the Microsoft consumer side, the Microsoft business or enterprise side. Those are really two different entities. Systems don't communicate to each other. We're Microsoft partners. We have zero access to the consumer side. So if you have a problem, if you've been locked out of it, if you've been hacked, good luck. So honestly, for small businesses, start the right way right off the bat. Get yourself a basic business email. It's really worth it compared to if you're doing a cost benefit analysis and you're weighing in the risks. Definitely worth that. The other, I'm going to quickly mention two other things. Updates. Update your devices, whether it's a mobile phone, tablet, PC, Windows or Mac. Keep your devices updated. Back in the day, we used to say, no, don't do the updates. It's going to break everything. Doing updates is probably going to break everything still. However, better to break something a little bit than to have major security holes in your environment. So definitely you want to be patching or updating your devices as quickly as possible and have a good antivirus. Free antivirus does not count. In fact, we're starting to see insurance providers that provide cybersecurity liability insurance. They will require paid for business level antivirus solutions because the free ones just don't do anything. They're what we call signature based versus next gen endpoint protection. So really antivirus is now endpoint protection is the real term. So we want to be careful. Don't use free stuff.
So you get what you pay for when it's free.
You get what you pay for, but
which is actually nothing. That's why. So
yeah, and
but what would be the best kind of, so let's say, because just average folk who are not running businesses or anything like this, that just have a phone. What is the best and probably least expensive one you can get on your phone?
So phones are actually, that's an interesting question. So if you're an Apple user, Apple products tend to be a lot safer.
Right.
Just the way the operating systems are designed. Apple has been known to combat law enforcement warrants and things like that. When they're being forced to unlock devices, they will refuse. So they're all about the privacy and security for sure. You can't actually install antivirus on an iPhone or even an iPad, like the mobile OS versions. A MacBook, you can certainly have antivirus, and you definitely should. Back in the day, they were running the ads, you can't get a virus on a Mac. Yeah. That is not the case anymore, and it has not been the case for years and years. Exactly.
You just don't notice.
So you want to protect yourself. On Android devices, you can get antivirus to protect your phone. There's a lot of different solutions out there, but some of the big names are like Bitdefender, ESET, Panda Security. We recommend Bitdefender, but for no reason. I mean, there are some leaders in that space, but Bitdefender is easy to use, easy to install, and easy to understand. A lot of it's automated as well. You'll just get an alert if it senses something, but basically any solution is going to be like that. But what I'd recommend is do your research, right? Look into it a little bit. If you're looking for that type of antivirus, just quickly Google it or ask your ChatGPT or Grok or Claude AI and do your research.
What got you, because all this is really fascinating, it takes a lot of time and energy and education to be able to learn what you've learned. I'm curious about what got you involved or curious about IT back when you got in, because I'm sure that what got you, I'll say, interested in IT has completely changed now, because it used to be probably the promise of creating wonderful things, and now it's the promise of defending and securing, and because just these threats almost seem to outshine anything that could have been possible back then. So what is it that got you interested and that keeps you interested in this?
I'm somebody that really needs to understand how things work. My brain likes to break things apart and figure it out. At a very, very young age, I was taking toasters, microwaves, VCRs apart. I'm not saying I was putting them back apart. My mom wasn't a big fan of having to go to the repair store. I mean, back then we had appliance repair stores, right? So you could bring a VCR and get it fixed.
Yes.
Not the case anymore, but eventually I started being able to put things back together. My mom was a big supporter in my exploration, so she bought me breadboards.
A little less with the microwave, though. I'm assuming.
Yeah. But she bought me breadboards with that I could build my own circuitry. Learn about diodes, capacitors, transistors. So I learned about electronics and basic circuits at a very, very young age. I'd probably say like 9 or 10 even. And then I got into gaming. I built my first computer when I was 13, 14. And, I didn't like how I had to basically save up my in-game money, or I was only giving so many credits. I wanted to figure a way to get more. So that's when I started figuring out ways of contourner, like to get around and bypass certain features, aka hacking, right? There's a roadblock in the way. How do I get around that? So when I was younger, I was opening up game files and modifying them so I'd have unlimited credits or speed or ammo or whatever it was. Essentially I was hacking. Not that I knew that's what it was back then, but that's what it is. So I really was just interested in understanding how things work, and if there's a roadblock, figuring out, okay, well, this is my objective. How do I get there? Just being around technology all the time. I had a stepdad that worked at D&D as a civilian programmer with some pretty high security clearance, and he would encourage me to work on the computer and provide me with these old computer systems and games and stuff. So that really kind of fostered my passion for technology.
And you're still passionate about it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. For sure.
Okay.
That and helping people. I really like helping people. So that's how I do it, is through technology, because my passion is technology and helping people. So if I can help people with technology, then that's perfect, right? Because that's what I like doing.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I guess I was just interested because I know, in every career, there are a lot of doctors that get into medicine and then kind of like get disillusioned and then, move into something else, or psychologists, or any kind of, career. And so I find it interesting that you're still passionate about it, even with all of these, the introduction of AI and these, quantum computing, all the things that kind of like thrill you but scare you at the same time. Right?
Yeah, it's definitely harder to keep up with things. I mean, I used to, spend a couple hours here and there just reading up on tech news and new developments or whatever else was news. Now, I mean, to keep up with everything, you'd essentially just have to be reading all day. It's just insane, the growth and expansion and new services and platforms that are out there. So it is definitely a little bit more challenging, especially running a company and being being so involved in the community. But now it's a matter of kind of scoping things down, trying to focus more on security and platforms and services that impact my company and or my clients, our community, and seeing how I can leverage those for the betterment of our community and our businesses.
So speaking of community, and I forgot to mention at the beginning, but I should have. So you're the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Clarence-Rockland.
Correct. Yeah.
You used to be the president of the Hawkesbury.
Vice president now. Yep.
And now you're still VP of Hawkesbury.
Correct. Yeah.
So your community engagement is pretty.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
I try to be involved. I like giving back. When I was younger, I definitely went through some challenging times. Not to get into it too much, but I was homeless a little bit, even for a little while in my young adult years. So I did leverage community and social services. I had really good supports in my life that helped encourage me to move forward. And I've built my life and I am where I am now because of those community supports. So for me, giving back is very important to me. It's my way of saying thank you because I recognize that I wouldn't be here without those community and social services and family and friends support as well. So for me, that's a major part of it.
That's awesome. Because we've known each other. Well, we met through the chamber and seeing how, because I hear you on Go FM, so you do you are on Go FM
and Big FM in the morning on Tuesdays
to just talk about these kinds of things to just make more people aware. So when you talk about giving back, this is really important. If there's anybody out there, I guess that doesn't know, well, actually, there's a lot of people out there that doesn't know what Ginga Technology does. When did you start the business, and what does it focus in, and where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
That's a great question. I started it, actually, just to give you a bit of context, I worked for a company similar to mine, like an MSP in Ottawa, for about three and a half years. But I started noticing some interesting things happening, and I just thought I could do better. When I tried to approach the owner, I didn't have really any positive, I didn't feel listened. And essentially I was told that if I didn't like it, that I should just go and start my own company. Right. And so...
and that's a threat you took seriously.
I took it seriously and said, okay, and stood there and said, fine, I quit and I'm starting my own company. And that's exactly what I did. And that was about in... I'd say probably October, I believe, of 2019. And by February of 2020, I had launched my company. So I'd taken a few months to research. I mean, I didn't really have business experience. I had management experience. I had team leadership experience. I had worked a lot of different types of jobs, from farming to retail to pharmacy pharmacy work. So I took that experience, did a lot of research and figured out what I needed to know to start a business. And I did it. And I registered and got everything in order. In February, I launched. I had some really great clients that were supporting me. Essentially, I wanted to focus on healthcare providers because I did have that. Okay. I was a pharmaceutical laboratory technician. Actually, I was chief for several years for a French pharmacy company. Okay. And I really enjoyed that time there and the things I learned and working with patients. And that was a way of helping people in our community, right? But being able to tie that in technology is really what kind of spawned all of this. So I focused my company on healthcare providers, but then quickly realized I need to be able to accept other types of businesses. So now we have industrial manufacturing, retail, law, healthcare providers, obviously, but we have all types of clients. And it really, we're in one-stop shop. Technology support from A to Z, no matter what kind of technology you have, business applications, emails, computers, printers, whatever you need support with, we can help with. And we've got a local team, fully bilingual, So yeah, we're really just there, and we support small businesses, startups, medium businesses, and we even have some good relationships with some very large organizations like regional hospitals, where we can offload some of their support needs or requirements, or help them with provisioning licenses or integrations. So we do a little bit of everything.
How big is your team?
We are 10 people, and our main office is in Hawkesbury, but being in IT, we don't really have any physical boundaries, right? We do have a client in the Grand Caymans. We have clients near Toronto or in Toronto. We have some in Montreal. So we have some a little bit of everywhere. But our focus is really Prescott Russell and SDNG. We're expanding into SDNG more and more, and obviously Ottawa, and even west of Ottawa, Carleton Place, where we've got a few clients there as well. But yeah.
All right. What kind of technology, because we covered a lot of things today. Some are really fascinating, some scare me, and some are exciting, right? Which one keeps you up at night?
I don't think any.
Look at you. You're like, I'm so confident. None of them keep me up at night.
They keep me up at night, but not for the reasons, not out of fear or concern, more kind of out of excitement, because I'm looking forward to the next best thing, right? Or new updates or versions or releases or abilities, features. So I think AI is something to really keep an eye on, right? Especially from that cybersecurity perspective. But it can be a great tool, right? It can really boost efficiency and productivity, whether in your business or even at home, right? You can use it to, my family and I are going on a camping trip next week, and we've used it to help us with some menu ideas. So for light packing, you don't want to start bringing the whole kitchen, and AI can just, generate some recommendations extremely quickly, save you time from doing a whole bunch of research, and maybe help you even find the perfect camping spot for you and your family. So AI gives me my time back to spend more time with my family and or with my clients if it's for business, or with my team. So it definitely helps with efficiency and productivity, but I really like the fact that it's giving me more time back. So I'd say AI, there's the scary aspect of it. And
which
also
will adapt.
Yeah, we got to adapt. But again, going back to the whole staying informed, and I think that's the whole point of this, right? Sharing this information. I'd say for AI, if you're using things like ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, OpenClaw, be weary, be conscious of what information you're sharing with these platforms. Different platforms will utilize your data in different ways. Some might sell your information. Some or most will obviously just use it to kind of help build and improve on their models. But it's the ones that may lack in security, that if you shared a whole bunch of information, your date of birth, your address, and all these things, and if they get breached, then there goes your personally identifiable information, which just increases your chances of getting hacked or compromised, and identity theft or financial fraud, a whole bunch of different things. So be careful of what information you share with it. If you're in a paid platform, you have a lot more control on what happens with your data. So I definitely recommend, if you're a heavy AI user like on ChatGPT or things like that, consider a paid subscription, because you can limit that data and what happens to it. It's a lot safer.
All right. That's interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But, because obviously you just look at a platform like that and you're like, of course they want your money, right?
Yeah, for sure. But there's reasons. I mean, if we look at Microsoft Copilot, it's one of the safest AIs. It's also, there's a lot of kind of negative talk about it. However, it is one of the safest AIs you can use. There's a lot of governance tools and controls. That's why our federal government's okay with their employees using Copilot and nothing else, because they can actually put privacy and security controls in place. The other thing is, data that you share with Copilot stays actually within your organization's Microsoft. It doesn't even share with Microsoft themselves. So it is extremely robust and secure. So businesses really should be looking at that kind of solution. And 100%, if you're not in Copilot for your organization, then I hope you're paying for another platform, because you should not be using free platforms for your business at all. Because you may actually be looking at some breach of regulatory compliance as well, depending on what kind of information.
See, no one reads those, right? So like you just see them, right? Yeah. And they're just a massive document, and you're just like, do you accept I'm like, absolutely, yes. I'm guilty of it too, because I'm going like, I don't know what this all means. It's all legal.
The one that a lot of businesses aren't aware of that I find is PIPEDA or PIPEDA, PIPEDA. It's...
Did you say, repeat it. Did you say
PIPEDA, PIPEDA or PIPEDA? Okay. It's essentially how you manage your client's information. Okay. Are you storing their address, their phone number, their email? Do you have any of their financial information? Are you storing their credit card numbers or banking information? That falls under PII, or personally identifiable information. If that's not secured properly, so you have to declare any breaches in your business to the Privacy Commissioner of Canada, and they will undoubtedly want an audit on your IT environment. And if they notice that you're not compliant, you could be looking at some pretty hefty fines, let alone lawsuits and your cybersecurity liability insurance maybe refusing your claim. So yeah, maybe there are little costs, monthly costs, and sometimes they're not little costs. But when you look at the risks and the fines and major headaches, sleepless nights, insurance and lawyer fees, and I've helped a lot of clients go through breaches, and they lose sleep over it. Some feel sick to their stomach for days. It really has a major impact, not just on necessarily your clients or your own business, but your employees, your team, at home, your family. I mean, if you're not sleeping, right, because you've been breached and you don't know what's going on, that has a ripple effect. So staying safe and putting in those few extra bucks to make sure your business is compliant and safe helps, again, our community as a whole.
Yeah, that's really good. And for everybody, because I know this is going to be shared on social media, we're talking about Canadian law, not any other country's laws. So please verify what your
local laws are. And in Canada, it definitely varies per province as well. I mean, in Ontario and Canada, we both have the PIPEDA. In Quebec, it's actually called Law 25, ou la Loi 25. And Quebec has one of the strictest laws and kind of governance policies when it comes to the handling of IT and client data. So like you said, make sure you're aware of what your provincial or territorial laws and regulations are. Good.
So I guess as we're kind of drawing to a close here, where do you see Ginga Tech in 5 years?
I see us in 5 years.
Do you see it growing, or do you see it maintaining?
I'm definitely looking for growth. I mean, we've definitely grown all significant, even over the past couple of years. Right. Essentially, a couple of years ago, I mean, we were two. It was me and maybe another technician. I think maybe three at a certain point, but now we're 9, 10 all together. So we're definitely expanding. I would like to see myself covering more of Ontario and more of Quebec. I think in 10 years, I would like to be, a lot more nationwide. But establishing...
that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
You were just talking about sleepless nights earlier. So I'm going...
Well, and especially being involved in, heavily in the community. And I have my own family as well. But we'll see where we go.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to say that we haven't covered off today that you'd like maybe want to just...
Yeah, I think a big thing these days is all these scams and these frauds happening, especially with our elderly, even not just elderly people, but just, text and calls and email scams and fraud. I would say, especially to our elderly people, don't be ashamed. A lot of these attacks are what we call social engineering. Social engineering is essentially the hacking of humans at a social level. So you may not necessarily be leveraging too much of the technology side, but it's people that contact you and try to get you to manipulate you. They get you to do something for their own gain. They will always have a sense of urgency. They'll also tell you not to tell anybody, right? To keep it to yourself for X reason. Ask your neighbors, get your neighbors to verify, or a family member. Don't be sending gift cards to anybody you don't know, or cash. There are scams that they'll say, well, go withdraw cash, put it in a book and mail it to me, or courier it to me.
Well, because AI actually can mimic the voice of somebody, of a loved one.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's deep faking. Video and voice, right? Yeah. So that can be quite challenging to differentiate, So don't be afraid to hang up. If you think it's your bank calling you, well, hang up, call your bank back and be like, hey, did you guys just call me? If it's the CRA, right?
Yeah.
If you think it's a family member, but it seems really odd. Wait, I didn't know cousin Joe was in Spain and now he's in jail and he needs me to send him $5,000 to bail him out. Okay, I'm going to send him. No, ask around. Do you really have a family member that's gone to Spain and is now in jail, right?
Yeah.
Like, verify the information. Don't be ashamed. They're very, very convincing these days with the advancements of AI and whatnot. So,
and to take your time.
Take your time. Exactly.
Think it through.
Think it through. There's going to be a sense of urgency. Are you really going to go to jail? Are you really going to go have these fines? I've seen texts where, I've received a package, but if I don't click on this link, they're going to send my package back.
Yeah, it's problematic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Okay, well, listen. Thank you for taking the time to actually see, like, this. We're talking about AI, by the way, and we're going to be completely transparent.
I got my glasses going off. His phone's now listening to him.
Basically, I said the word Google, and now all of a sudden my phone was like, hey, what do you want? It is...
it can be pretty invasive.
Well, it is, because sometimes I'm just having a conversation, and I think we have an Alexa, and this thing actively listens.
Yes.
To everything.
Yes. In fact, that's changed recently.
Okay.
They're storing those conversations. And
so you're hearing it here first.
Yeah.
I remember my wife and I were having a conversation as we were folding laundry, and we were talking about what we were planning on doing. I think it was vacationing or whatever. And this Alexa started talking and says, I've got some great destinations for you to consider. And we started laughing because we didn't ask you.
Right.
But how weird is it that I have to sit there and talk to a machine that listened to a conversation without my consent and then say, I didn't ask you for your opinion.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going to say, well, you invited it into your house, so that is the consent. And that is true. But when these things first came out, they were all the rage. And now I don't know anyone else who still has one. I think we still do, but we like to listen to sounds when we go to sleep, just because it helps us.
I know a lot of people with smart speakers in their homes. I mean, we're seeing it more and more. Yeah. I mean, it's been around, but I mean, for home automation, right? To automate your lights or temperature or blinds or unlock your door, open your garage door. So those smart speakers can be very, convenient. The thing about cybersecurity is that it's linear to convenience. So the more convenient things are, the less secure they are inherently.
And the more integrated they are into your life. So
and the more secure, the less convenient, right? If you look at 2FA or MFA, I hear it all the time. People complain, I need to put a code in now and it's taking me forever to sign in. The importance of 2FA and MFA, it's real.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you have 2FA or MFA on everything you can. The evolution of that is now passkeys. So if you're on a platform or a device that supports passkeys, 100% sign up for that. Do a little bit of research. Make sure you understand how it works. Because you also don't want to lock yourself out if you're changing your cell phone. That could have an impact. So be careful on that front. But it is very safe.
Can you see the look of confusion in my face as you're talking? Because this is a lot of
some people will be a little confused, but essentially you don't want to be just signing in with your email or username and password. That's your basic authentication, which is no longer considered secure. You should have a 2FA, which is two-factor authentication, or MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. Usually that we see that as receiving a code through text, or having an application like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, or password management app where there's maybe some sort of a rotating code, right? So that's good security. Again, passkeys they're leveraging a different type of technology and a little bit more of biometrics and some. But yeah, having something like that is very important.
And I know that it's important, like, because, most of everything, even with online banking now, or even CRA anytime. And
but so, not convenient, right? It can be frustrating.
It is, because they're asking me to go here, now go there, now go here, now go there. And I'm going like, listen, exactly. I just want to get into my banking. Like, but I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because they're protecting themselves, because technically now these fraudsters are robbing the bank through us.
Yeah.
And that's essentially because now the bank is like, oh, somebody hacked, so I guess we'll reimburse the money that was stolen. Not all banks do that, by the way, but some do. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And I'll end it off with a few fire round questions, as I did with my first podcast. So iPhone or Android?
Definitely iPhone, just for the security.
Oh, damn. Okay. Mac or Windows?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it depends. Like for work, Windows; for personal, Mac.
Okay. Password manager or memorize passwords?
That's not a question. I mean,
is it?
It is not a question. Password manager all the way. Do not be keeping your passwords just on a notes app, or especially an Excel spreadsheet, on any digital thing.
Oh my God.
Post-its.
You're scaring me. I have to go home and now redo everything.
Worst case, okay, sure, maybe you're writing them in a notebook, but let's say, God forbid, a fire happens. Where's that notebook? Have you just lost all your passwords to your entire life? Like, that would suck. That's a long time.
Password manager
for sure. I recommend 1Password. I mean, not just from a professional perspective, a personal one. I'm using 1Password. It's really like number one password.
You can't use that anymore. Now it's like, they need like characters and capitals, and it's got to be 37.
Yeah, but the great thing about password managers is you really normally just need to remember one very complex or a passphrase.
Yeah.
It's easier to remember. And then you have all your complex passwords stored in this application. So it makes it a lot easier and a lot safer. Good. In fact, a lot of these applications will tell you if your passwords are compromised. Like if they see your password on the dark net or
Really?
Yeah. So they'll let you know.
There's probably more than one password manager. Which one is the best one?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like 1Password is the one we recommend. So it's number 1 password.
I thought you were talking about that should be the password to get it.
Yeah.
1Password.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not a good password.
No, okay.
But yeah, confused. 1Password is great application. Okay. It's based out of Toronto, so it is Canadian. I believe the founder actually worked for Apple or something like that. Wow. But don't quote me on that. But it's easy to use. If you're technologically inclined to a certain extent. If you can use a smartphone and you're on social media, 1Password's fine.
Perfect. What's the strangest tech issue you've ever had to solve?
Oof. I don't think we have enough time for that. Okay. Strangest one. Yeah.
We'll skip. One piece of technology you couldn't live without.
Interestingly enough, as much of a tech guy that I am, I really like the outdoors and nature, camping and hiking. I mean, I would be, if I didn't have a company to run, I would be fine just living off grid, to be honest. Like I could actually do that. But yeah.
That's awesome. One myth about hackers you wish would disappear.
A myth about hackers. It's they're not just some nerdy person in mommy's basement anymore. I mean, there's probably a lot of those.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you can buy tools online very easily. You can buy I had mentioned this on a couple podcasts as well. But these people that are stealing cars and stuff, you can buy the equipment on Amazon. So you can have a high schooler, that's on YouTube and wants to learn how to do something. You can learn how to hack on YouTube.
That's pretty bad.
So it's not just, there's no really stereotypes to hackers. I don't know how to answer that.
No, that's one. Okay. That's okay. Favorite music? What
I am very eclectically diverse. I mean, I will listen to classical music, opera, rap, country music. I worked a long time in nightclubs, so I do like my techno EDM. But I guess it just depends on my mood and what I'm doing as well. Like if I'm, I'll listen to different type of music if I'm trying to focus, or if I'm on a road trip or camping by the fire, right? So,
Okay.
yeah.
Favorite food?
Sushi.
Sushi?
Yeah.
Really?
It's the half Japanese in me, I think.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate the time that you took. I know you're a busy guy. If a company is watching this and wants to reach you, how do they do it?
Well, we're on Facebook. You can call us. You can email us. So our website is gingatech.com. So GINGATECH.com. info@gingatech.com if you want to email us, and phone 613-216-9140. But you can also find us on Facebook, and I try to be pretty active there, so I will respond to messages.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.